Okay, I think that's good. Hi everyone. That's not my intro. Hi friends. So I know this isn't my typical content, but I had to do a 5 to 7 minute informational speech in my oral and written communications class, which is required for my major, and I figured that this topic might be more useful for my online community as opposed to a bunch of CS students. So here goes. Today we are talking about everybody's favorite topic, money. And I've already run through the script so many times preparing for my class, and I already filmed this, but I initially filmed it for an IGTV, and then I figured, you know what, f it, let's just make a YouTube. So then I had to refilm it in the horizontal aspect, so here we are. So I apologize if I'm talking fast, it's been a long day. So in this day and age, almost everyone, especially in my generation, is either scrolling or posting on social media on a daily basis, and if you are in the latter category, why not monetize that content? I started taking content creation seriously about a year ago, and now I can proudly say that alongside being a full-time student, it is also my full-time job. I'm sure a lot of you guys know, but if you are new to my channel, I primarily focus on fashion content, and my main platforms are Instagram and TikTok, and occasionally I do YouTube, which is more of like an inside look into my personality and life as opposed to just fashion content. When I first started off, I was really just going through the motions and pretending to know what I was doing. There was no yellow book that was titled How to Be an Influencer for Dummies. So I really just had to stumble through it and use good old trial and error to figure things out. And a year ago, I would not have thought that I would be here. Making 6 figures and just coming back from New York Fashion Week. So it really has been a blessing, and I just want to say a big thank you to my audience and supporters for essentially letting me live my dream life and having my dream career. So if you or anybody that you know is really looking to jumpstart their social media career and just start earning dough from it, keep watching. There are 3 main ways on how to monetize your content. The first is direct platform monetization. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that YouTube pays its creators based on factors such as video views and engagement. Engagement is basically the ratio of likes, comments, shares, general interaction that a video gets. TikTok also does this through their creator fund. However, this method is really only pocket money unless you are one of the platform's top earning creators and your videos are getting hundreds of thousands to even millions of views. The second method is through ambassadorships. An ambassador program is basically when a company or brand reaches out to you, they send you free product, and you earn commission from the sales that you generate. So let's say, for example, company X recruits me as a brand ambassador. They'll send me free clothing or makeup, I'll snap some photos and post them on my social media channels. I will then either give my followers a unique discount code or direct them to a specific tracking link, and I'll earn a percentage of their purchases. Just like platform monetization though, this method is really only pennies, especially when you're just starting off, because the buying power of your audience isn't very big, and a lot of the company's commission rates aren't very large either. They probably range from maybe 7 to upwards of 20%, I would say. So these type of programs really are somewhat of a gamble, and you can't depend on them because you don't know how much you're gonna earn and how many sales that you're gonna generate. The third and most lucrative way on how to monetize your content is through paid sponsorships. Simply put, that is when a brand or a company hires you, you create content for them, and you typically post them on your own social media channels, and they pay you in a lump sum. Just like a rough estimate, I would say about 95+% of my earnings are generated through paid sponsorships. So now that you know the basics on how you can earn money through social media, let's talk a little bit about negotiations and tips, tricks, and general traps that a lot of new content creators often fall into. So the first trap, I guess you could call it, would be the spend your own money trap. This might sound intuitive, but never ever spend your own money when promoting a company. When you're just starting off, you will be approached by dozens, maybe even tens of dozens of companies, and it'll go something like this. Hey Vanessa, love your style. I will give you 30% off of our entire site. You will purchase products with that discount, and in exchange, you will post about our company on your social media. This is essentially a scam. Not only are you giving them free advertisement and free work, but you are also giving them revenue from your own pocket. I would say that it is okay to create content for a brand in exchange for free product when you're just starting off, if you genuinely like the product, you genuinely like the brand, and you're trying to establish some sort of content creator brand relationship in order to pave the way for like future paid sponsorships. But never ever ever spend your own dime when promoting a company. Now let's talk a little bit about negotiations. Fast disclaimer right here. I suck at negotiations. I am what you might call a people pleaser. So when it comes to negotiations, I'm not very good. I'm not very good at like knowing my own worth and like putting my foot down. But hear me out. Just like you are trying to optimize your earnings, a brand is trying to minimize and spend the least amount of money that they can for advertisement. So it's really like this tug of war, back and forth dance between you and the company trying to establish some sort of happy middle ground. And the hard part is that there really is no magic formula for how much you should be charging a brand. It depends on so many factors, including obviously your follower count, your engagement rates, what kind of content they're looking for, whether it's a reel, TikTok, static post, etc., and even the company's own budget. And what makes it so much more difficult is that almost nobody is talking about it. Money is such a taboo subject in society that nobody's talking about how much they're earning. So how are you, this brand new content creator sprung from the earth with no knowledge of anything, how are you supposed to know that what you are being paid and what you are offering a brand is fair and in a correct amount if you have nobody and nothing to compare yourself to? Like when I first started off, I got like taken advantage of, not taken advantage of, but the fact that I was a brand new content creator, I had no clue what I should be charging, I had no clue what other people were being paid. That fact was being taken advantage of by big brands, and then I would just be lowballed constantly, and I had no clue. I think my first deal was like, I think it was a whole IGTV and a reel, and I paid my own money to buy the product too, and they also paid me a little bit. So I think my total earnings was like $6. And obviously I was a lot smaller than I am now, but I think at the time I had 10K followers, and you know, $6, it just, you know. So probably like the first half of my career, I was just not being paid what I should have been. Which isn't to demonize the companies. Like obviously they're a business, they're trying to save money in any way that they can, and if a small influencer is like, hey, I'll do something for $6, they're not gonna be like, no, let me pay you more. Like obviously that's their job, but it is also your job to learn how much you're worth, right? So a great thing that you can do is reach out to other content creators of roughly the same size that you are and just ask them, just fully transparently DM them, ask them, and maybe you'll get a few responses. And obviously it's not a one size fits all. I'm sure what they're being paid doesn't equate to what you should be being paid. You don't even know if they're being paid fairly in the first place, but it'll at least give you a jumping off point to start negotiations. And from there, you can kind of push and pull with companies and kind of like test your limits, so to speak, and kind of like get into a groove of it, you know? So another trap that creators often fall into is not signing contracts, okay? You would be surprised how many brands, even larger, more established household name brands, are willing to basically not pay their creators or to rip them off, so to speak, because you didn't sign a contract. Even if you feel like you can trust the brand, it is always better safe than sorry. So make sure you sign that contract, make sure that you read the fine script, and make sure there are no loopholes in the contract, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you are being paid for your time, your effort, and your audience. And then this is just me going on like another tangent, and this isn't even in my notes, so I'm sorry if this is not relevant at all. And I actually got asked this in class during like the Q&A session after I had my little TED talk. Somebody asked me, what is your definition of a good versus bad influencer? Even though I've said it a couple times, I think, I don't love the term influencer. I prefer content creator just because being an influencer has such a negative connotation attached to it. But at the end of the day, both are accurate descriptions of what I do. I create content for a living, and I ultimately influence people's decisions, whether it be on what pants to wear with that top, or what companies you should shop from, or what pieces I recently bought that I think you should buy too. You know, at the end of the day, that is a pretty fitting description. I responded to that question by basically saying this. I think that a good influencer is somebody who owns and acknowledges the responsibility that they have and, well, I guess the influence they have over people. So when it comes to advertisements, I am pretty particular about which brands that I partner with. I try really hard to make sure that the brands and companies that I am working with are ones that I genuinely like, and the pieces that I'm modeling are ones that I would actually wear in my daily life. And I'm not gonna lie, like, nobody is perfect, and when I started off, there have been sponsorships that I've regretted looking back. I've never partnered with like a detox tea company, and I never will, but I'm just gonna use this as an example. Like in the past, I would be like, oh, look at this detox tea, blah, 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 that I've never even friggin' used. And like looking back now, I feel really bad for that. And I'm just glad that I've learned the error of my ways, and I just strive to do better for my audience. But again, it can be really tricky when you're small because you don't have a lot of options. The reason that I would make those mistakes when I was smaller is because, you know, I had the money signs in my eyes. I saw like, oh, you'll pay me like $250 for a video? I don't even know who you are. I don't even know what product this is, but sure. And like, you know, it can be hard when you don't have a lot of options and you're really just trying to make a name for yourself. But I would strongly advise you on only accepting deals from brands and products that you genuinely enjoy and would genuinely use. It establishes right from the get-go that you are transparent with your followers and that you respect them as an audience, and you're not just trying to shovel advertisements down their throat over something that you don't even like. And then another thing too is when you do start to build a bigger audience and you get bigger on social media, the beautiful thing is that you can become picky and you can pick and choose what brands that you want to work with and how many sponsored posts that you want to promote. Because it can be a turnoff when literally every single one of your posts is a sponsored ad, because then people start seeing you as like a sellout, I guess. So, you know, there's a fine line, because at the end of the day, this is your career and you do need to be making money in order to keep doing it. But just be mindful of that. Just be mindful of who you partner with and how many that you are pushing out of the door. The last tidbit that I want to leave with you today is by far the most important, so write this down. Out of everything that I've talked about today in regards to knowing your worth, struggling with negotiations, signing contracts, the whole shebang, your life will be so much easier if you find a good, emphasis on good, manager. Basically, a manager, they will take care of all the contracts and all of the legal jargon. They'll negotiate for you, and they will just basically have your back in exchange for a percentage of your earnings. And the beautiful thing about that relationship is that it is a mutually beneficial one, because the more money you make, the more money they make, and everybody is happy. With my manager, I am making about 4 times the amount of money than I was making solo, even including his percentage that he takes. A lot of it obviously comes down to experience, knowing the game, knowing how much he should be charging on my behalf. But a big portion of it also comes down to credibility. I know whenever I loop my manager into an email chain for a prospective sponsorship, I'm bringing out the big guns. They know he knows what's going on, as opposed to just a random micro influencer who goes to a company and they're like, hi, give me money. Like, they're gonna be like, no, go away. Like, you don't know what you're doing. I'm gonna try to lowball you and you won't even know. She won't even know. Another note that I wanna make in regards to management is it's kind of like what they say about therapy. You know how they always say, like, you have to kind of cycle through a couple therapists before you find the right match. I worked with like another management company before my current manager, and you know, I just don't think we were the right fit. We just didn't feel as in tune to each other's like needs, and I didn't feel like they were like pushing enough for me. And then I found my happy spot with him, so now we're doing some good business. Okay, I'm tired, I'm hungry, and I still need to go to the gym and do some homework, so I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. But I really do hope that this was useful, or at least some parts of it was useful for you or for anybody that you know. Please let me know in the comments if there's any other lingering topics that you want me to discuss about. I know this is a relatively brief video, and I could definitely dive in deeper if you so wish. So yeah, that's it for me. That's a wrap. All right, see you in the next one. Bye.